Hello, Brad Shelkey here at Conversations with Mormons. This is part 9 of Opening Eyes to Life. Last week we explored the humanity of Christ as the door into co-loving with God. This week we'll explore how co-loving with God helps us understand what it means that God is love. Recently I asked a Mormon student my question, what's the difference between trying to love and trusting to love? She said it was a good question, but added that she couldn't even imagine what trusting to love was about. I didn't tell her how this worked because even though it's good information rarely gets through the minefield of human pride. Human pride craves credit, and in order to get credit, it has to brainwash us to focus on self-effort. It is nothing more than self-effort when we try to love. This student was basically saying she couldn't imagine any alternative to self-effort. I began asking her questions to help her discover the answer. True or false, God is the source of all moral goodness. She smiled at the simplicity of the question and said it was true. True or false, it's good to love others. She smiled and hesitated as the question was so embarrassingly simple. Since she said it's good to love others, I asked how she could do this good thing if God is the source of all goodness. That made her curious. I asked if she had heard that God is love. She had and believed it. Notice that she already knew all this good information and that it was obvious to her. She knew it as everyone else does because God has written it in her soul. Her problem, like yours and mine, is that her pride blinded her to how that good information fits together. I told her that since God is love, we have to connect to God to love others, and we do that by co-loving with God. She hadn't heard that word before but liked it. How do we let God love through us? The simplicity of love is surprising and confusing. It seems so obvious that God is bigger than I am. If God is love, then love has to be bigger than I am too. This discovery is what blew the mind of that student I mentioned some weeks ago. If love is bigger than I am, then it's futile to look inside myself for the ability to love you. It's not only futile, it's also confusing. I need to look outside myself and co-love with God by trusting His good moral expectations. That's what my questions led this student to do. My questions slowly peeled away the layers of her confusion, helping her notice her intuitive understanding of moral goodness. That is, her standard for measuring good behavior and her sense of the need for and the way to resolve sin or evil. My questions also helped her experience the principle that when she sees herself in a good way, she treats herself in a good way. Let that sink in a minute. When she sees herself in a good way, she treats herself in a good way. This simple principle may be the most difficult aspect of the moral world to grasp because of human pride. It's the meaning of Jesus' words that good things come out of a good heart and evil things come out of an evil heart. This principle is a huge surprise, and it showed in this student's face. Watch the last video, episode 27, for the questions I asked her. Giving thanks is a simple and natural way to learn to trust to love, to co-love with God. At the end, I gave her my usual assignment to thank God that day for 3 things she said are true and saw she needed to trust. Father, thank you for having no negative thoughts about me, even if I do. Thank you for sending Jesus to reveal that I should always measure myself by His perfection. Thank you for loving me and sending Jesus to die on the cross to take care of all my sins without my help and for giving me the job of trusting Him. That student left with a new awareness of something that 15 minutes earlier she said she couldn't even imagine. Trusting to love is all about co-loving with God. It's all about that simple principle that when I see you in a good way, I treat you in a good way. Why that principle works reveals the nature of love. That's what we'll explore next time. Until then, please join me in thanking God that love is bigger than you are and for giving you the privilege of co-loving with Him, free from the pressure of self-effort. Welcome to the conversation.